Don't adjust your TV set. This man's skin really is blue. He used to look like this, a good-looking young man with a shock of red hair. But after using a home remedy, Paul Carson looks like this.
Were you around my shade before?
Yeah, probably a little lighter.
So how did this happen? It all started when Paul was looking for a cure for flaky skin. Doing his own research, he read about drinking a solution of silver in water. At first, things were fine, but then Paul started rubbing it onto his skin, and it started turning blue.
When did you first realize that you were blue?
A friend that hadn't seen me in a while came by and asked me what I'd done to myself.
We compared our arms. Paul's used to be fairer than mine. Now it's a dull gray blue. And despite the change in his skin color, Paul kept drinking the stuff because he says it cured ailments like sinus problems and even arthritis. Paul showed me how he makes it.
I use distilled water, and then I take this apparatus here.
It looks like a high school science experiment. Paul attaches electrodes to a strand of silver wire. He sends a current into the water which extracts the silver. After about 15 minutes, the dissolved silver turns the water into a milky liquid. Paul's fiancée, Jackie, drinks the stuff too. But Jackie's skin looks normal because she says she never applied the silver directly to her face like Paul did. They met on the phone and she fell in love with him. Months later, she saw him for the first time, and she says even though she knew he was blue, it was still a shock.
Were you taken aback?
Very much so, yes. Yeah, I had to really look at it and keep looking at it and remember who I had talked to and who I had fallen in love with.
Paul says his blue skin has many advantages. He never sunburns and doesn't need to wear sunglasses. Here he is with his fiancée on a recent trip to New York City. But he also says there are some side effects he doesn't like.
Do you feel that you have been treated differently because you're blue?
Oftentimes. Some of the people were less than polite.
But despite everything, Paul says he has no regrets about using his silver remedy.
If you could change back to the way you were, would you do it?
I'm not sure.
Really?
Really?
He shocked the world 4 years ago, a man who turned his skin the color blue.
Amazing story. I've never heard of anything like that.
This is a first on the Oprah show. He really is blue.
This California man is blue, literally.
But whatever happened to Paul Carson, the guy who will forever be known as Blue Man? Sadly, he's fallen on hard times. Paul even lost his home and had no choice but to move into this homeless shelter.
I really had no other place to go.
A series of crises landed Paul on the streets. He battled prostate cancer and heart problems, broke up with his fiancée, and couldn't get a job.
People are rather reluctant to hire blue people or people that are noticeably different.
So he left Madeira, California, and returned to his hometown of Bellingham, Washington, where he moved into the Lighthouse Mission Shelter. It houses 40 homeless people. But going back to his hometown turned out to be an inspired idea. Blue Man has a girlfriend. Paul first knew Joanne Elkins 47 years ago in junior high. There's Paul in the yearbook, and there's Joanne in a beauty pageant around the same time. Paul got in touch with Joanne, and she helped him move out of the shelter. Now they live together.
He's quite the guy despite the fact that he's blue.
Sad news about the man who achieved fame as the Blue Man. Paul Carson has died at age 62. Carson shocked the world 5 years ago when he came forth as the man whose skin had literally turned blue. As a young man growing up in Washington State, Carson's complexion was completely normal. His skin turned blue after he sought a cure for flaky skin. Doctors told him there was no hope of reversing the pigmentation, and life was never easy for the man whose fame was skin deep.
People are rather reluctant to hire blue people or people that are noticeably different.
He's quite the guy despite the fact that he's blue.
That's Carson's wife, Joanne. Carson died of a heart attack and a stroke in a Washington hospital on Monday.